Hey, it's Mark. Keeping it kind of quiet today because I want to talk about kickbacks. All right, I can talk a little bit louder. When most of us think about kickbacks, we think about cash in bags. You know, there's the bag man who picks up the cash and drops it off. In healthcare, we do see kickbacks in cash, but more often they tend to be soft kickbacks, either direct or indirect. I read a U.S. Attorney's Office announcement yesterday of a settlement of a criminal and civil investigation was settled civilly. In other words, there was no penalty, no fine, or no jail time. There was the payment of over $1 million, but that was a civil settlement. So civil settlements hurt too. But underlying it were allegations of two types of kickbacks. One was, and this was in the context of an ambulatory surgery center, one was that the party providing the kickbacks paid for drugs that were used in the course of procedures at the ASC in exchange for obtaining referrals from the physicians at the ASC. The second was even more obtuse. An entity related to the provider group that received these favorable contracts funded some portion, unclear how much, of the construction of an ASC that was a member of, I guess you might call it an ASC group, a group of related ASCs owned by a common set of owners. So, I guess there are two take-homes here. Number one, if you're looking at relationships from the outside, or someone's proposing something to you from the outside, you have to be concerned that any sort of an arrangement that has a benefit for someone or some entity that is going to be sending referrals to you may be tainted pursuant to the federal anti-kickback statute, even if there is simply one intention to obtain some type of remuneration to induce referrals. And even if there's another 5,000 reasons that are legitimate business reasons for the financial arrangement. And second, these arrangements, even though they can be convoluted, a subsidiary providing funding for the construction of a surgery center, they can and are often discovered and have the same impact that a payment of cash would have. In other words, remuneration can be in any form, and it can be direct or it can be indirect. A corollary to that third point, and maybe to both, maybe to all, is that these arrangements come to light from perhaps the most obvious, but perhaps not obvious at all source, and that is they generally come to light from insiders. In this case that I mentioned yesterday, the U.S. Attorney's involvement on the criminal and civil side grew out of a whistleblower action filed by an insider from the provider group. What's interesting is that the U.S. Attorney did not intervene in the case. In other words, the U.S. Attorney's Office didn't pick up the prosecution of the whistleblower action, the civil lawsuit, but instead started a parallel criminal and civil investigation of its own, and that resulted in the $1 million plus settlement. So beware.